Hi, we're glad you're here, and we're about to begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. KenCast After Dark. Stimulating conversations all night long. And here's your host, Ken Cole.
Hey everyone, welcome to KenCast After Dark. Thanks for joining us this Thursday night. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking a lot about Cobra Kai, all the stuff that's come out this week, all the great marketing, and we're going to be getting to your questions. And thank you for watching tonight. Tonight I brought on a very special guest. He is a Cobra Kai fan, but also an expert across all the Miyagi-verse. And we're going to bring him in to kind of talk about things because I know you guys have a lot of questions and comments that you'd like to bounce off of us. So let me bring in our special guest for tonight, Chris Maffei. Chris, how are you?
Ken, I am doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me again. Last time was a blast. I had so much fun. So very happy to be invited back on. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining us after dark. It's going to be great. Okay, everyone. So I want to introduce you to Chris, and actually I'll let Chris introduce himself. Chris, can you tell us a bit about your background in Karate Kid and Cobra Kai and why you're such a big fan?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll preface this by saying I am not an expert.
I don't know. You know quite a bit.
I just have no life. So that probably explains it. No, I've been watching these movies ever since I can remember. Not when I was like super little, but once I became maybe like a tween or a teenager, I started watching these movies, mainly the first one at first, but then I remember getting a box set of all 4 on DVD and just running those things on repeat. As you know, I remember specific like school projects and reports and things I was working on while I had those on in the background. Like it was that type of movie for me. It was like those movies and Back to the Future would just be on constantly on my TV and my DVD player. So I got to know them quite well over the years. So just imagine, you know, all those years later, seeing Cobra Kai come out and seeing characters like John Kreese and Terry Silver and soon to be Mike Barnes coming into the limelight and having this whole new audience, and you know, the larger cultural conversation being taken up by Cobra Kai. It's just like completely surreal to see, you know, from these movies that no one would talk about with me when I was in school to now it's a huge Netflix property. So yeah, I'm just a fan, but I have I guess I have more to say about these movies than I thought I did based on last time.
I know, and I completely agree with you. When I was young, I watched these movies over and over and over again, but it wasn't like Star Wars or maybe even Star Trek where I could go and have conversations with my friends about these. I was like the only one watching these, and so I just assumed there weren't as many fans, but thanks to knowing you and thanks to knowing everyone in the chat now, it's great. It's like there are fans, and thanks to the Cobra Kai series being so popular, it's just created this amazing community. So we're going to have just a great discussion tonight, and I'm excited to see everyone in the chat. Cobra Kai Bricks, great to see you. Hello, Chad, great to see you. Terry Silver's wife says it's always a stimulating conversation when we're talking about Terry Silver. Yes.
Ain't that the truth?
It's absolutely the truth. Great to see you, Terry. Great to see you. Serena, good to see you. Wow. Crazy Bison. Yep. It's great to, okay. And Morgan F, same. Chris, same. So that's great. Bryce Productions, hi. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. And before we get into our main conversation, which is about this new content that was released by Netflix about Cobra Kai Season 5, we'll just get into some news.
KenCast News.
All right, here we go, guys. So Chris, this was released today, and I'll try and make this full screen so we can see it. This is the official poster for Cobra Kai Season 5. And this was released since our last KenCast. What do you think? I mean, what are your thoughts on this poster?
This poster is the first one where I've really felt like, oh wow, this show is getting big. Like, I remember, the season 1 poster just feeling so, it's very nice, but also very kind of minimalistic, and the season 2 poster with Johnny and Daniel facing off. Then season 3, it started to get, we had a lot more characters. It felt more like, oh, there's this universe, there's this whole Miyagi-verse that's kind of flowing out of this bonsai tree.
Mhm.
And now we're up to season 5, and it feels so like it's gotten to be such a big world, a very explored world. And just look at Terry front and center there. I mean,
Yeah.
that says it all. There's never been anyone front and center on a Cobra Kai poster quite like this.
No, and I was shocked, and, I even tweeted about it. I'm like, "He's front and center. It's exactly where he should be." But I can't believe this. This is a character I never thought I'd see again. Just what, 5 years ago, 6 years, I never thought there'd be a chance of seeing Terry Silver again. And now he is front and center on the season 5 poster. And also, I'll point out, and I'll get to this, that they have a whole marketing campaign here in LA, and Terry Silver is actually on a billboard in LA. It's amazing. I didn't We live in very special times, Chris, I think.
We truly do. Like again, we were just talking about this before we went live. It's like it's like pinch me. Is this real? Like, is this actually happening? Like, is there really a billboard with Chosen saying "I am gasoline"? Like,
Right.
that's an actual thing that, like, and it's not just something that I daydreamed. It's incredible. The show, it's never felt bigger. The poster is very reflective of that.
Right.
It almost feels, dare I say, too big at this point. It's like something's got to give. Like, it's starting to swell up to the type of degree that I'm thinking, like, the end of the season, I think we might be in store for some big shakeups here. I don't quite know where I'm landing on that yet, but it almost feels like we're gonna have to reset at some point and maybe simplify.
Now, by shakeups, do you mean like character exits or deaths, or what do you mean?
I, Ken, I'm not even ready to I'm not even ready to think about deaths. But I don't know. It feels like the scale is getting so epic. Like, how could they possibly do it? But then again, it's the big three,
Right.
and I've never had any reason to doubt them. So,
Right.
but yeah, no, I think it's a great poster. And just, man, Terry Silver, look at him,
Yeah.
look at him, admire him, cherish him, love him. Look at him, he's right there.
This is great. He's on top of the world here, and I hope he stays on top for a while. This is A lot of fans have wanted to see him in this position, that's for sure. Chris Klotz with a super chat. Thank you guys for the super chat. It helps support the channel. Fun watching you and the rest of the fandom as we near September 9th, 2022. That is the premiere date. So thank you. Thank you for the super chat. And guys, if you want to support the channel, you can do stickers and super chats. I also started doing channel memberships. So if you click join below, if you're interested, you can get badges and emojis, but also other special perks if you want to be a member. So definitely check that out. Thank you, all of you, for contributing and just for watching and subscribing. Thank you so much. Bryce says, how you were talking about the original Karate Kid 3 story, and Dutch locked Miyagi in his house and set it on fire. Did Miyagi die in the fire? That's a great question. I think there's a lot of interest for that particular script. And I want to say that has nothing to do with Robert Mark Kamen. He never wrote that draft. That's when they went to a completely different writer and had him write a version of Karate Kid 3. So I would say it's definitely not canon. And no, he did not die. So it was, at the end, it was a Karate Kid movie, and they didn't kill him off. But anyway, Chris, let's move on, because let's see what's next. There is a premiere, and I don't know if there are still tickets, but you guys might want to check out if you're in the LA area on Wednesday, September 7th in downtown Los Angeles. They're having a premiere with the cast and crew, probably the first episode or the first couple of episodes. I'll be there. So if you guys are in the LA area and you're there and you got tickets, perhaps we'll see you. So that's exciting. I am glad they're doing that. Next, Cobra Kai. Guys, if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. I've got a link in the description. It's the perfect way to wait and anticipate season 5 of Cobra Kai is to watch Cobra Cole. And yes, that is David Shatraw, Tom Cole on Cobra Kai. Of course, my name is Ken Cole. And what might that have to do with Terry Silver? I don't know. You're going to have to watch it to find out. Now, we are about to launch into this scene, Chris. And underneath, we heard a track. And it sounded like it was this track, Once Upon a Time in the Valley. So first off, everyone, Chris is about to, one of his upcoming projects is to do covers of the Cobra Kai score. So I don't know, Chris, do you want to talk about that real quick before we talk about this track?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, as I mentioned on the last stream, I have a YouTube channel where I do covers of wrestling themes. But pretty soon I'm going to be launching an entirely new channel where I post all kinds of different music, including what I hope to be a lot of covers of Cobra Kai music and the Karate Kid music. I'm very inspired by the soundtracks of both the original movies and the series. I think Zach and Leo are just magicians with what they do. The music is incredible. It's part of, I think, what has, what endeared me to the show right away, and what keeps me gripped. And I still pick out new things every time I listen. So whenever they drop a new track, I'm always very excited to hear what it's going to be. And I was not expecting what they dropped on us with Once Upon a Time in the Valley. And I love that we got a little bit of it in this clip that we're going to talk about. But I originally had maybe predicted that this would be kind of the theme for maybe a series of different flashbacks or vignettes of young Terry and young Kreese. That could still be, but based on the fact that we heard it in this clip here, now I'm not so sure. Do you have any thoughts about maybe what this theme in particular is, what it's going to be used for?
I don't know. I had kind of guessed. We did with Cobra Kai Companion podcast, we did some bets, and I kind of guessed that we'd see this in the mid-season finale, or hear this in the mid-season finale, episode 5. But now the fact that this is already in that scene they released, I'm guessing that scene is going to be from episode 1 or episode 2. Usually when they release scenes like that, or at least up till now, it's from like one of the very first episodes. So if it's that early, you're right. It's like, are we just going to hear it there, or is that going to set up a theme, a recurring theme that we're going to hear throughout the whole season? But since we're hearing it with Kim Da-Eun as she gets off the plane, I'm wondering if we're going to continue to hear this in scenes with Kim Da-Eun and maybe Terry Silver. There's something going on there. It makes me think of the Wild West. I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm not sure. It's interesting. I can't wait.
Totally.
Let's bring out a couple comments. It's me, Eliana. Hey, Eliana, guys. Eliana's my niece. Thank you guys for watching. Good to see you, Eliana. And Cobra Kai Brick says, I never thought Terry would be back. Yes. I don't know if you're a Super Hawk fan, Chris, but William asks, I don't understand why they don't show Hawk's new mohawk. They showed it in the trailer. I don't know. What do you think? And I assume that's
on the poster,
referring to the poster. Yeah, let's bring that back up here for a second. So, right. So he looks very Eli there.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
Well, I think maybe we still see, early on in the season, Hawk kind of in transition to, eventually where he grows out the mohawk again. I think certain things are better to show in a quick cut in a trailer versus having it just kind of spelled out for you right on a poster to kind of look at and analyze. I mean, we analyze the trailer, but the poster to me feels kind of, this is where we start things for the season.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that's where we're going to end things. I know there's been a lot of discussion. I've watched a few other streams of people talking about the poster when it dropped. And a lot of discussion about characters wearing old clothes, a lot of the old looks
right.
From the last season. So this to me feels like, this is just the beginning. This is just the first page of the first chapter, what we're looking at on this poster. So I think if they maybe gave away something like Hawk with a new mohawk right on the poster, people might feel maybe that's a little bit too much.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. Like they're wanting to start us off right where the characters are at the beginning, and they don't want to show us later on because that might give away some of the story. Um, Morgan asks, "Is this your guys' favorite poster?" What would you say, Chris?
I haven't thought about that. It's kind of at this point, it's like picking my favorite season.
Mhm.
Where I'm at right now is like my favorite season is always the last one that just happened, just because of recency bias. I'm guilty of it, as guilty as anyone. Uh, Although I would say that I really do love the season 3 poster a lot.
Mhm.
Like I could just look at that all day. So I don't. I guess I would say season 3. This one's pretty high up though. I like it a lot, especially for Terry, front
Right.
and center. I mean, if you look, and I saw online there was another version of the poster, more of a horizontal version that just had, it was Terry and some of the other senseis, and then maybe some of the other kids were in there. But that one to me was even cooler than just the regular poster. So, and then I think there's also a version floating out there with just the senseis
Right.
on a regular poster. So, interesting that there's a few different kind of configurations, but no, I would say this is pretty high up there. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, man, Terry tips it over. Like, I have to go with Terry. It's great. I like how it's composed, but I think you're right. I think I've really enjoyed seasons 3, 4, and 5. Last year, 4 was a lot of fun too. It
Yeah.
was that kind of epic contrast between the light and the dark, and you
Yeah.
had Terry, he was kind of in the background. That was kind of cool. This almost has like a very unified movie feel to it, and
Yeah.
it seems epic because there's so many people in it. And I just love how the Cobra is, I don't know, it almost looks like angel, or you could say demon wings over Terry
Mm.
Silver. It's kind of a cool look. So yeah, maybe I'll have to say this one. This is kind of my favorite.
It's
Although, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's even kind of more of that with the Cobra when you look at the vertical poster. I think it might
Mhm.
be also what's maybe on Netflix's website. It could be wrong about that, but it's kind of like almost like wrapping around certain characters, which
Mhm.
is very interesting. But I will say I was thinking about this earlier. Speaking of the poster, I would love to see a Cobra Kai poster done by someone like a Drew Struzan style. Drew
Mhm.
Struzan, who did so many iconic movie posters, Back to the Future, you name it.
Yes, yes.
I'm such a big fan of that art style,
Mhm.
and I feel like if there's a property that can really bring it back, I mean, what better property than Cobra Kai?
I know, I agree. I love that style as well, and it just brings up that era. And this is what the whole series kind of harkens back to. So, yeah, I agree. I would love to see that. I'll back you on that. Um, Kate Maloney, who is a member, she's one of our first members of this channel. I watched Karate Kid in the theater in 1984, and I can still feel the excitement the movie created. I wish I had a time machine to go back to that moment and share it with all of you. Yeah, that would have been amazing to see Karate Kid in the theater. Because it was so fresh, and a lot of people really thought it was magical at the time. Um, and the closest I got to that was at the release of Cobra Kai in the theaters. I don't know, Chris, if you went to the Fathom event. They had like a Fathom event where they showed the first 2 episodes and the entire Karate Kid movie. That was the first time I saw it on the big screen. It was pretty cool.
I wish I could have gone to something like that. And if they ever do something like that again, I will do my best to get there. I would also love to see the original movies on the big screen. That would just be amazing.
Yeah, I think there's a big potential there, like a tie-in between Cobra Kai and a movie marathon. They should think about doing that. I wouldn't think it would be too expensive to screen those movies. I'd go. 100
Absolutely.
100%. Melissa says, "Do you think that they could actually incorporate original alternate ending of Karate Kid 3 with a possible burning down of Miyagi-Do?" Now, okay, so I know that this is getting out there. I'm offhandedly mentioned this in a KenCast, and this is people are interested in this. This was never shot. This was only a first draft script by another writer, and I don't think they considered it for a second. Like, I think they went back to Robert Mark Kamen to write what we know as the Karate Kid Part 3. So it was a completely different storyline. The characters were acting maybe in a slightly unfamiliar way than what you would think. It had a different vibe to it. And I'll do a video about that someday as well. But I don't think
Nice.
I don't think they're going to incorporate anything from that script into the Cobra Kai universe, unless it's like a loving tribute to that. I don't know. Robana asks, why isn't Anthony in this poster? Oh, I don't know.
I don't think they had room.
Right. Maybe they lost room. Or do you think, Chris, you mentioned something about the show's got to give somewhere. Do you think Anthony's where it's going to give?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. The son of the Karate Kid dying in the 5th season of the show. I don't know. Could be. Could be.
Now,
you're gonna look like a genius if that happens, by the way.
Well, yeah. Okay. If it happens, you heard it here first. Absolutely. Drew Rohali. Drew is normally on this show, and we're going to see him again soon. He says, how many TOEs do you guys think we'll get this season?
Oh my gosh.
Drew coined this on our discussion on Cobra Kai Companion. A TOE is a Terry orchestrated event.
Brilliant.
Which is amazing. How many TOEs do you guys think we'll get this season?
All of them.
Yeah, I know. It's like, is the entire season a TOE? That's a great question. Chris, do you have any guesses?
Oh man, you figure at least one per episode up until maybe the last one, where it probably ramps up to several hundred.
Right.
I mean, Cobra Kai is spreading at such a rapid rate, and Terry, he's got some tricks up his sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all pretty much know that. I don't know. I guess I'd say maybe just shy of 20 TOEs in the entire season.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
I'd back you up, Chris, because everything in this, like, we see Sensei Kim get off the plane, right? We see those senseis come in. We see Daniel go off the deep end. We see Chosen going into, like, all those things that you see are Terry orchestrated events. Like, everything is according to his plan. And I predict that even through the end of the season, what we see will all be within Terry's plan. So I agree with you. I 20 or more, I think, easily.
20 or more.
I would say. Bryce, they should have had Anthony on the poster. Yes, there are lots of Anthony fans. He's going to hopefully become a powerful character this season.
That's a refreshing change of pace, because I feel like all I ever see is Anthony getting dunked on. The LaRusso kids in particular, I always just see them getting dunked on a lot. I mean, especially Sam, but Anthony too. No, I always got a kick out of Anthony, especially in the earlier seasons.
Yeah.
And when I saw that picture they released ahead of season 4, with Anthony sitting with Daniel, and they had the Cobra Kai hoodie, I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna get Anthony involved in something meaningful now. Like, that was really exciting. So I can't wait to see what they do with his character this season.
Yes, 100%. And I guess people are talking about the poster. Terry Silver in his poster looks like the spitting image of honesty, compassion, and fair play. Yes, Matt. Yes, I 100% agree.
That was a Terry orchestrated comment, I'll tell you right there.
Exactly, it was. Vincent says this poster has Marvel vibes. Yeah. I mean, Marvel Cinematic Universe, they've called it the Miyagi-verse. So maybe we're going to get some more series or movies out of this Miyagi-verse, kind of like Marvel. Terry, season 5 will be epic. Yes. Okay, so Chris, I think we have kind of warmed ourselves up. We're ready to tackle the main discussion for tonight, and that is this amazing scene that we got. So let's head into our talk of Terry Silver.
KenCast Terry Silver.
All right. So here we go, Chris. This scene, okay? Now, guys, if you haven't seen the scene yet, you can go and click in the description, and I'll put a link to it, and you can watch this scene. It's a little over a minute long, and they released this, so you can watch it. We don't know quite what episode it's from. I'm guessing it's from, I don't know what, episode 1 maybe. And it's when Sensei Kim first meets Terry Silver. And I know, Chris, I know you have a ton of thoughts on this. And guys, I know you have a ton of thoughts too. Let's talk about what happens in this scene, and also what this might mean for season 5 and the characters, and even the characters we don't see, maybe like Mike Barnes. I don't know. How would you like to start us off, Chris? What were your first thoughts when watching this scene?
Well, I love the confirmation that she is indeed related to Kim Sung-young. That was, I mean, that was pretty much a foregone conclusion. But I think the fact that we have that now spelled out, I don't think that's too spoilery or anything like that. I think that just kind of helps us prepare ourselves
Yes.
for what we are in store for. I I was kind of pleasantly surprised that my read on her seems to be kind of dead on, which I really think that Terry in this instance, unless and this is Terry, so he could very easily surprise me. I think he really has just um, bitten off maybe more than he can chew in this situation. She is not motivated by money. There is some purpose for Kim Da-Eun, which Alicia Hannikim teased in an interview recently. That I am just so excited to see what it's all about, because from everything I'm seeing so far, I've never been this excited for like a brand new character within this universe as I am for Kim Da-Eun, because she feels like the tectonic plates are shifting here, like the power dynamics are just completely about to change. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. I'm also extremely excited about this character coming into the franchise because, Kim Sun Young was just an offhanded reference in Karate Kid 3. Terry Silver mentioned him, and maybe he was in the background. We knew there was someone maybe behind John Kreese and Terry Silver that maybe taught them, maybe a bad teacher, as Miyagi would say. And this character, it's like it's a brand new, fresh character. So there's that freedom there. The actress Alicia Hannah Kim, she can create this character, and she's not bound to like a previous portrayal, but it has that deep connection to the original Karate Kid movies. And that's really exciting. I mean, this is pure lore. I mean, if you were wanting lore for Cobra Kai or the Karate Kid franchise, this is it. You're going to get it. She is descendant from probably the person who gave John Kreese and Terry Silver this attitude they have. As Miyagi said, maybe a bad attitude. This would be kind of maybe the wrong way to fight. And she doesn't seem that bad here, but that if she's related to Kim Sun Young, if everything we know about him is true, I mean, she is going to be pretty fierce.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very curious about if they have a pre-existing kind of friendship or relationship of some sort prior to this. How well do they know each other? Have they always gotten along? Why is Terry seemingly letting her in?
Oop, I think we might have lost
12 contingencies already lined up.
Oh, okay. I'm
sorry.
Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, it's interesting with Terry Silver, right? It's like, why would he let her in? Terry Silver like loves to control things. He's been fanatical about control. He controlled everything going on with John Kreese. He got rid of him, because he wanted full control of Cobra Kai. So why would you allow this person who could be a threat into your Cobra Kai dojo? I don't know. What do you think, Chris? Let's speculate here for a second. What do you think Terry's goal is? And guys, let us know what you think too. Because Wayne says Terry Silver is an industrialist, but Kim Da-Eun is the matriarch of an entire dynasty. Terry is in deep trouble. Morgan says she's going to be intense. So what is Terry's angle here? Because he could call anyone to improve his students. Does he need to call her?
Yeah, especially knowing that she's not motivated by money, which he probably had a good read on going in, and to the point where he even says, 50% is just a number. He loves that number, by the way. He loves he loves that number 50%, but
Right.
he had to know going in that she wasn't just going to be wooed by that. So I don't think it's necessarily a case of him just kind of changing his strategy on a dime and being thrown for a curve. I think he knows exactly what he's doing bringing her in, but I don't think he fully realizes the consequences of what he's doing. But I'm really wondering why. And could it just be out of loyalty, maybe he feels some sort of loyalty in his own way to Kim Sung-young, and the whole, just the fact that his karate and Cobra Kai is just, is taking Tang Soo-do and running with it and corrupting young minds in the valley. Could he feel some sort of loyalty or gratitude to Kim Sung-young, and maybe he feels that he's a part of that legacy? Probably not. He probably has some ulterior motive, but yeah, no, I see some people in the chat saying maybe he has a little crush on her.
Oh, yeah. Maybe so. People are saying, I saw a comment earlier saying like that that person shipped them, and I'm like, well, yeah, maybe so. You don't know. I know some people are saying that maybe she and Chosen, they're both single, right? Maybe they can get together as well. So,
Oh,
Drew
man.
Drew says, I really hope he doesn't go down after the season. I don't mind conflict, but if he's defeated right away, I'm going to be disappointed. Well, that there's kind of a saying in business and negotiation that the first number always loses. Okay. It's interesting that Terry, his first number or his first offer to her is 50% ownership and full autonomy to test the students. That's the first. So, and what that means is you don't want to like go in with too high an offer when you start, because, then you have no place to go. And so he's already started pretty high. So for a businessman, I would think he can't be serious. I don't think he's really wanting to give up control of the Cobra Kai dojo. I think he might be, I guess you could say, conning her or not being totally transparent with her. I don't think that's real, because that's the most expensive part of a business you can give away, is like equity in the business. And so why would he give her 50%? And he would lose control, like from a business perspective, over his Cobra Kai dojo legally, to her. And that's odd. So that's why I can't totally trust him. And then you could see how he just shifts immediately to, he says, well, that's just a number, this is about loyalty, so it's like he's really selling her. He really wants her. And so my question is, what do you think he wants her to do exactly?
Could be any number of things. This is where I don't have like a strong feeling one way or the other. I've never really thought about the full extent of Terry's plan, or how it actually goes into motion once he gets here. I'm sure he has. I'm sure he's been thinking about this for a very long time. My mind does not work that way.
Right.
I am not that diabolical.
Right. Which is good.
I can't necessarily dissect exactly point for point his plan, but I with the broad strokes, I would assume that he needs to bring in someone that he knows is going to be able to train and discipline and essentially brainwash these students to the highest level. And who does he know who would be better than that, than the direct descendant of Kim Sung-young? Like, who else? Where else do you go? Like, that's where you go. He goes to where he was trained.
Right.
So I think that what she's going to bring to the Cobra Kai dojos is this extreme level of discipline bordering on torture, like we've already seen.
Mm-hmm.
And really just weed out who is actually Cobra Kai material in his eyes and in her eyes. And I think what he'll be left with is an army of dojo students that he could pretty much convince to do anything. And if what that end goal is for him is revenge against Miyagi-Do and against Daniel and Johnny and everyone else involved, then I think he made the right decision in bringing her in.
Right.
Does it get away from him at some point? Who knows?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and I want to get back to that in a second, because Oliver kind of brings up what you said. Maybe Terry met Kim Da-Eun when she was a child, when he trained under Kim Sung-young. So, Chris, earlier you were talking about maybe loyalty, and that might have that like personal connection. Terry Silver's wife says, I think Silver might actually respect Kim Da-Eun. And So
Is he capable of that, Ken? Because you've done the work, you've done the research. Is Terry
right,
truly capable of respecting
right.
someone on that
Well,
level?
of course, the answer is like he can do whatever the writers say. However, if you want to kind of ground him, in that psychology, and I suggest that he's somewhere on the hair scale for psychopathy. He might not be like a 100% on that scale, but he might be like 70 to 80%. Then he's going to care about himself in the end. And he's going to basically, he has a very grandiose sense of self, and he's not going to have that devotion. He's not going to he's only going to show like devotion if that person can do what he wants them to do. Um which now what you're saying has me thinking back to a scene between Terry Silver and Daniel in season 4. Remember when they were in the convenience store and Daniel said, "Well, you made me do this." I'm paraphrasing, and look what you did to me. And then Terry's like, "Well, I didn't do anything to you. I just wound you up like a toy and let you go." And I'm wondering if that's what he's doing here. I'm wondering if he's
Mm.
like winding up a toy and getting out of the way. And like he knows what's going to happen and he's just going to stand back and watch it. And I don't know. I'm wondering if that's his plan in the end. We might not know his plan up front, but I don't know. I'm wondering if he's kind of tipped his hand there when in that discussion with Daniel.
I just want to see the flow chart of all of Terry's plans and all the possible outcomes and contingencies and backup plans. I would just really like to see that all mapped out of what he could possibly have in his mind. Because if that, and that's, I love that theory. And if that's the theory, then, there's no question this is going to get away from him in a big way. Not even Snake and Dennis could come in and help him clean this one up and control this one. They're not exactly going to come in and take Kim Da-Eun out for a night on the town. I know Snake's the boy to be bad with, but not this time. She's bad enough for everyone. So
Right. What do you think she'd say? "Oh, Snake, that's cute." She
yeah,
wouldn't be too impressed with
how on
Snake.
the nose.
Right, exactly. Um, hey guys, I'm watching the chat. Remember, let's keep everything respectful. We want to keep a chat that Miyagi would be proud of. Okay, thank you guys. Cyborgana says controversial angle. Terry's trying to make sure that his racist past doesn't catch up to him by bringing Kim Da-Eun into the fold. He's covering all his bases. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so he could appear like he cares about diversity and everything
Right.
like that.
And we know
Lisa,
he doesn't.
exactly. We know he doesn't. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you.
Hey, Lisa.
Terry. Okay, this has come up. I think Terry dies in this season. Tig has cut the ponytail off. Well, I'm going to get your thoughts on this in a second, Chris. I will offer mine. We saw Thomas Ian Griffith at Paley Fest. I got to meet him, which was really cool. And his hair was shorter. It wasn't super short, but it was too short for a ponytail. But my wife was there and I asked her, "What do you think? Do you think that's it? Do you think he cut his hair that he's done with Terry?" And she was like, "No, that's the length where he could probably grow it back out if he needed to." And so I think that's something to keep in mind. Also, they've said that they haven't even started writing season 6 yet. So
Right.
that's a lot of time, guys. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't worry about. I haven't seen a recent picture of him or video of him since then. So I don't know how long his hair is, but regardless, I think he could probably grow it out if he needs to. I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
No, that's my feeling as well. There's always a lot of hair speculation in this fandom. It's always looking at what Jacob Bertrand's hair looks like at any given time, and that's gonna tell us everything we need to know about the next season. Now the same with Thomas. I think, there's two possibilities. He cut the ponytail off and he's just gonna grow it back,
Right.
or he dies. Or I guess there's a third, and maybe for some reason within the story, Terry cuts his hair. Uh, which I would never want to see, ever under
Right.
any circumstances. Terry, the character with short hair, no ponytail. Don't do it. Come on. That
Right.
would be the jumping the shark moment, I think. That's the cutting the ponytail moment, and I hope we never see it. But yeah,
Right.
I think by the time they film season 6, if he is indeed a part of it, I think he'll be in full ponytail mode.
Right. And, I agree with you about the ponytail. I think that actually, if instead of Terry dying, because people talk about they think Terry will die, I think a fate worse than death would be to have his enemy cut off his ponytail. So I would be happy with that fate for Terry Silver because at least he could grow his hair back. It would
You
just be a
know,
temporary humiliation.
that would be like the most pro wrestling thing that this show could possibly do. And this is already a show that, as a wrestling fan, I'm like, this show is so pro wrestling. I could actually talk at length about how Cobra Kai and pro wrestling are very simpatico, perhaps
Mhm.
someday. But that I would love to see that
Yeah.
little hair versus hair action.
Yes, and I'll point out, Chris, I've got a link to your YouTube channel in the description. Everyone should go check that out because, yes, you are a bit of an expert on wrestling as well. Crazy Bison says Terry Silver should go bald. That would be a sad end for Terry.
Oh man.
Drew says the big three did trick us a bit in the last season, making us think he was weak. In this situation, what if they're making us think he's going to be defeated by Kim Da-Eun and it's just another misdirection angle? Now, Drew, I have no idea what you're talking about. They never misdirect us ever. We're never surprised. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. I mean, I probably, Chris, I don't know. Would it be fair to say that everything that we think is going to happen will probably happen like the first 4 episodes, and then things will just go in directions that we can't even anticipate right now?
I mean, it seems to always be that way. It's always everything that you thought was going to happen is like a quarter of what makes up the entire season, and it's like an afterthought by the time you get to the finale, or it doesn't happen at all, and they just completely like they're very talented. Like they're everyone they're so good at what they do.
Yeah.
Like I don't even try to sit back and like fantasy book the whole season or anything like that. I have my kind of inklings of what I think might be happening, but I just like to watch all this stuff play out. And when you're dealing with a character like Terry Silver, who is, as a character, way smarter than I am as a real human, I just like I can do nothing but just sit back and watch in amazement. Really.
Right. I know. Talking about ponytails again, Terry says that's why I think maybe he'll have his ponytail cut off because it means a lot to him, but just speculation. Okay, so I think we need to also talk about in this scene because we're talking about Terry Silver. You mentioned Snake and Dennis, and if they would come in to clean things up, I have no clue if we'll see them this season or not. But it really implies Mike Barnes. Like he mentions 50%. And that was the deal he made with Mike Barnes. We don't know if he had any intention of following through in that deal and letting a kid be co-owner of the Cobra Kai franchise, because he seemed to not be too serious with John Kreese when he said he'd give him 100%. So where do you think Mike Barnes enters into this? If you could guess.
I have no idea. My only guess could be maybe mid-season,
Mhm.
and throwing a curveball into Mike is necessarily a part of Terry's plan. He says to Kim Da-Eun in the clip, we have to share his style with the world, meaning Kim Sung-young's style. I don't see how Mike really plays a part of that. I mean, he did train Cobra Kai for a little bit, but he already came in as his own fighter, basically with his own style.
Mhm.
So I don't necessarily see Mike playing a part in that plan. Whether or not Terry has another plan specifically for Mike,
Right.
uh, that could be interesting if Kim Da-Eun is like, okay, you do this over here, and I'm gonna take Karate's bad boy, put him over here,
Right.
now, and just like have all these wonderful toys at his disposal that are eventually probably going to blow up in his face and maybe be more powerful than he could have imagined. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. It really depends. Like what has Mike Barnes been doing since Karate Kid 3? Did he, after being branded with unethical behavior after that tournament, did that ruin his fighting tournament career? Did he have to go to do something else? Uh, so has he not fought since then, or has he really kept it up and become just an amazing fighter? Because obviously he was really good when he was, I guess, what, 18, 19, 18, under 18, I don't know.
Yeah.
However, I'm sure he cheated too to get in, but he's
He lied
around that
about his
age.
age like Mike Tyson when he was
Yeah,
young.
exactly, right. And in fact, Sean Kanan said that was the one direction they gave him, is that Mike Barnes is a white Mike Tyson. And that's pretty much the character. But what, who is he, and where has he been? Like, is he a national level fighter? Is he aware of things? He wasn't living in LA at the time. Is he living somewhere else now, or is he in LA? Did they fight after? Like, did him and Terry Silver argue and fight and have a falling out after the tournament in Karate Kid 3? Or did they make up and they're on good terms? A lot of people expected that Terry Silver was going to call Mike Barnes up immediately after the end of last season. He says, like, I've got 1 or 2 friends that could help run Cobra Kai. He expected or a lot of people expected Mike Barnes to be one of those people, but he's not, apparently. Maybe he still could be, but I don't know. It's kind of looking like he's not, right?
I feel like anytime we really expect something and then we're like, no, that's what they want us to expect. So then we expect something completely different. And then it winds up being somewhere in the middle where it's like partly what we expected, but they do it in a completely different way that no one ever saw coming. And it's great. It's a lot of fun. So I could see Mike's entrance being something like that. Like you said, there are so many different possibilities and permutations of what happens after that fight in Karate Kid 3. I think that's the most intriguing thing. The big mystery for me was not, will Mike Barnes be in the season? So while some people do feel maybe spoiled by seeing that picture, to me, that just is like, okay, now I can just start to just think about where he's at in life and what happened. Now I have permission to do that. So I'm glad they gave us that permission to speculate, because that's going to be the most exciting part. Seeing him show up on the screen, we can pretty much predict at this point, like, we've seen Ali, we've seen the OG Cobras, we've seen Chosen, we've seen Kumiko. We've seen so many characters. It's a foregone conclusion that we're going to get Mike. Like, it's just a matter of how. And I think that how is probably the most intriguing thing to me of this season.
So you mentioned all the other characters we've seen. There's now we've seen Kumiko and Ali. Do you think also we're going to see Jessica Andrews?
Well, my theory of Jessica Andrews coming in back into Daniel's life with a nice big pot of mac and cheese.
Yeah, it's great.
Just to give him some warmth and cheer him up, give him a hot meal. I sometimes just go back and watch that Daniel talking about mac and cheese scene just by itself on YouTube, because I've never seen such like a manic excitement about mac and cheese ever in my entire life. I always speculated when I would watch Karate Kid 3, I was like I always thought, like, Daniel has like huge used car salesman energy in this movie. So for him to have been a car salesman in the series was like, it's a no-brainer. But like that, it almost seems drug induced, that rant about mac and cheese. So I don't think Terry was the only one that was maybe doing a little coke. It was the 80s after all.
That's so interesting. Yeah. What was Daniel doing with that money he won in Okinawa?
I'm just kidding. I don't think that's canon at all. I hope no one is offended by that. I love Daniel-san. I take great pleasure in that mac and cheese scene. So, but yeah, I would love to see Jessica Andrews. If it makes sense, and if they do bring her back, the big three are going to find the perfect way to do it, that everyone's like, oh my God, this is great. Like, who would have thought Jessica Andrews again? There may be some people who are big Cobra Kai fans who don't even know who Jessica Andrews is.
Right.
So, but I think that they could still do it in a way that's fun and works for the story.
You bring up mac and cheese, and Daniel is a bit of a cook, a bit of a chef in the Cobra Kai series, yet we've never seen him at all in the same scene as mac and cheese ever. And he supposedly loved it in Karate Kid 3. Did he forget about that, or has he moved on? Or
I think he saves it for special occasions. Hey kids, I'm gonna whip up my famous manic mac and cheese. So stand back and adhere to, like, yeah, he's got the Bananarama pancakes. He's got all his famous dishes. I think he has some mac and cheese on the menu for sure. Yeah.
Nice. Absolutely. Aloha Bama says, I believe Barnes gets involved when Silver expands national and it affects his dojo and money. And yeah, I mean, if Terry is going national and he says he wants to go bigger, what if Barnes is a national player and all of a sudden, we're going to have problems? And maybe Terry's aware of this and is welcoming the challenge from Mike Barnes. Very, very interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
Mac and cheese will be Jessica's karate against Barnes. Well, she used it against Snake. And Snake fell very quickly in Karate Kid 3. She threw the whole bowl into his stomach and he went down just in one strike, which is pretty funny. Let's see. Captain Cisco says, if I know Karate Kid, Chosen should be the only one that can defeat Sensei Kim. In Karate Kid, Asians are supernatural. Well, I think they've really done a good job of showing Chosen to be at Miyagi level, maybe he has that ability. Like he's kind of the other side of the coin from Sensei Kim. Like his uncle was Sato, who taught U.S. military, a very aggressive style at the time, and Chosen was very aggressive. And then you have Sensei Kim, who's coming in as the granddaughter of a master who taught U.S. military in South Korea. It's a very similar type background. So I don't know. It's interesting. And Detective Bat says, why do people want Daniel and Amanda to divorce?
People love relationship drama. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's a great answer. Yep, they just love it. So this brings up, the big question. I know we talked about this before, but do you think it's going to happen where Terry's going to move in on Amanda?
I mean, if anyone could, I think it's funny. We see little like hints of, like Amanda calling Johnny the pretty boy and Daniel being like, I don't remember calling him pretty. Little moments like that. Could she be wooed by Terry? I mean, who among us couldn't be wooed by Terry? That's the question I want to ask everyone here.
Right.
I don't know. I don't want to see it.
Right.
I personally don't want to see Amanda fall victim to Terry like that. I think she's too smart. And I also just think that's, she wouldn't do that to Daniel. But who knows? They could throw us for several loops this season. But I do think that, and this is a great comment that Drew's making here. He takes her for granted. And that, that's true. Up there, I also see he says Daniel doesn't deserve her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And while I hate that as someone who loves the Daniel-san character, it's like,
right.
He did get very lucky with Amanda. We'll just say that. And in the same ways that he almost didn't deserve Mr. Miyagi as a mentor a lot of the time,
right?
Because he was just a little shit. I think, yeah, a lot of the time he doesn't deserve Amanda. So maybe this season will be where that all kind of comes to a head, and maybe he finally learns to appreciate her in that way.
Yeah. And maybe if there's strife in the relationship, if there's a bump in the road that has the name Terry Silver on it, if they get over that bump, they'll just make their relationship stronger, right? Maybe in the end. Kate, who is a channel member, thank you for being a member. And she says, I would never go for a guy like Silver. Okay.
That's what you say now, Kate. That's what you say now.
Wait until he comes for you at a very high roller gala or fundraiser with a glass of wine. Yes. We'll see what happens.
I don't even drink, and I couldn't resist that.
Terry's a very suave, very charismatic guy. Yeah. Cloud Leon, new member. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, we just rolled out memberships. Check them out. They're all different levels, and there's some bonus perks, some special perks, depending on what you want to get. Thank you for supporting the channel. It means a lot. It helps keep the lights on here. Let's see. Niobe Comics says, if Miguel, Hawk, and Robbie all join Daniel, who fights for Terry other than Tyler? And, people have brought this up, like that, Cobra Kai doesn't seem to have very many quality fighters, maybe aside from Tori. And Kenny's doing well, but he's relatively new. And Kyler's there, but I think people don't think Kyler's really that great in general, or they don't respect him at that same level.
I
I
think
don't
he's
know.
great. I think he's great in other ways, but yeah, maybe not the best fighter that in the Cobra Kai ranks.
Right. So, so what do you think? Are there gaping talent holes in Terry Silver's dojo?
My immediate answer to that is Devin. Uh, I think she is going to take to Sensei Kim's teachings very well because Peter. I think Peter brought this up on the stream that you guys did, the prop bet stream over on the
Hmm.
Cobra Kai Companion YouTube channel. I think it was Peter who mentioned that Devin could be maybe very drawn to the fact that Sensei Kim was trained under Kim Sung Young, and that's the Tang Soo Do style, and
Hmm.
that's what Cynthia Rothrock was trained in.
Yes.
And if she finds that out, that might be the thing that kind of wins her over to the Cobra Kai side. And I thought that was such an interesting little detail that I never would have even known.
Yeah.
I don't know what Cynthia Rothrock does, but Devin does, and she thinks she's badass. So I could see
Right.
that totally being something that kind of seduces her over to kind of giving herself over to Cobra Kai, and then she kind of becomes their ace, so to speak. Whereas Tori is kind of, she's having her kind of drama with Terry. I think Devin is going to ascend. That's just my kind of view on that now, having that great nugget of information there. I think that kind of changes a lot of things in my mind.
Yeah. That's a great point. I love that. It's just like, yeah, it's that level of detail that's absolutely great. Brian asked, Ken, did your fascination with Terry Silver start in '89 or did it evolve over time? I think I always loved the character. I honestly think I just accepted Karate Kid 3 as part of, the trilogy. I thought he worked so well as a friend to Kreese and up the ante. I don't know if I singled him out so much until the Cobra Kai series came out, because I realized in a continuing story just how important and amazing he could be. Like that type of character and his wealth and all his resources, his abilities, how they could really wreak havoc on Daniel again. And I think that's when I just really appreciated what Thomasine Griffith did. And I was always a fan back in the day. I followed him. I tried to, see all the movies I could back in the day. I recommended Excessive Force when I worked at a place called Video World, which is a local competitor to Blockbuster. People would come in, what's a good action movie? I'd say, go check out Excessive Force. And so that was fun. And but yeah, he's what about you, Chris? You're not as much a fan of Terry Silver?
Oh, I am.
Oh, okay.
Terry Silver is my favorite movie villain of all time.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Favorite movie villain of all time, and it's not even close. Um, yeah, no, Terry for me, it was like the first time I watched the Karate Kid 3. I was just so taken aback, I think, by just the drastic change in tone
Right.
from the other movies. And I think that really separated it in my mind. And, you and Drew have always said this word singular when it comes to Thomas Ian Griffith and his portrayal of Terry. And that's really what it is. It's just like, there is no other, I can't think of anything else like this as a part of this world or any other world. I love Terry Silver. It's not the archetype of the type of character that he is. It's the way he does it.
Yes.
And I think it's like, it kind of goes over people's heads maybe when they only see the movie once or twice. But there is so much nuance in there. And for even people involved with the movie to say Terry's a one-dimensional character, I think we all here, we completely disagree. And, we know that's
Yeah.
not the case.
Right.
I was taken, by Thomas Ian Griffith as Terry right away when I first watched the Karate Kid 3. That kind of humble everyman Terry that he was posing as with
Right.
the beat up truck. That to me just like tickles me every time I watch it.
It's great. I love it. It's just such a great, it's such a great con. And it's like, it's so ridiculous too, but it's wonderfully ridiculous. Like how he would target a teenager. It's just so wonderfully petty. Everything. Yeah, it's great. Robana, thank you for the super chat, Robana. Just saying hi. Really appreciate it. Claude Leon, keep trying to set a super chat, but it keeps failing. Thank you for the thought, though. Really appreciate you guys' support. That's wonderful. And so, guys, we we're going to wrap it up here for tonight. But don't worry, next week we're going to, and even this weekend, I think we're going to have a lot more of these live streams to talk about everything, because we got to prepare for season 5. But before we go, Chris, tell everyone all about your work, what your projects are, and where people can find you.
Sure. Well, you can now find me on Twitter at CM Strike Audio. I actually just got back on Twitter after like 4 years. And it's exclusively basically to talk about Cobra Kai and the Karate Kid. So feel free to add me on there if you want to talk about this stuff. I do some projects, Wrestling Undercover on YouTube, youtube.com/Wrestling Undercover. I do covers of wrestling entrance music. Soon to be a new channel, which hopefully in the coming weeks and months, I'll have more to share about that. I also have a SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/CM Strike, if you'd like to hear any of my original stuff. And yeah, that's kind of it for me right now. I'm kind of keeping a low profile, but I am always thrilled to be able to come on either the Last Row or now the KenCast to talk about the Miyagi-verse. So thank you so much again for bringing me on. It's so much fun.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here, Chris. You have so much great knowledge of the series and so many great thoughts. And I'm going to ask you for one more thought to wrap it up. This scene, everything that we know so far, do you have any major thoughts, ideas, or predictions, or did something change between the time before they released this clip and after in terms of how you think this season's going to go down?
I think it just reinforced my kind of original read on Kim Da-Eun. I think everything that I thought going in, now I kind of see it being reinforced, and now to the point where I think, I think we are on a course where she will ultimately lead to Terry's demise, if not in this season, then in a potential future season. I think she'll be that important of a character. So I'm really excited to see how it all kind of winds up. Of course, it could be completely wrong. And I'm sure you would be thrilled for Terry to be able to outsmart old KDE here.
Right. Yeah. I'm all I know is that I'm sure has done his research and knows what he's getting into. And maybe it won't go exactly to his point. Maybe this will be some kind of lapse on his part and he'll miscalculate. It's possible. But I'd like to think that he understands everything that could happen and is planning for all contingencies. But I don't know. This will be exciting, guys. Well, let's continue the conversation. Everyone who's watching right now, on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon, I have my normal KenCasts, and then we'll have the evening ones as well. So keep tuning in. There's a lot to talk about. I know you guys had so many questions, and I'm sorry we couldn't get to all your your chat messages, but in the comments, just leave what you think, and that will be permanent attached to this video, and then I can go in and reply to that as well. So thank you guys. Thank you, Chris. And I look forward to seeing you next time on KenCast.
Thank you for joining us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you next time on KenCast.